CTV News at 5 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Glad you're spending some time with us on this Wednesday, March 4th. Family members and North Bay police haven't given up hope of finding a man who's now been missing for 15 years. Luke Joly-Durocher of Timmins, Quebec, was reported missing March 4th, 2011, while in North Bay. The then 20-year-old was last seen after he was refused entry into a licensed establishment downtown. He was reported missing by his parents 2 days later. On the 15th anniversary, police reiterated that the investigation remains active. We've posted a full breakdown of the case on our website. All right, let's talk about the glorious day we had today. Above zero temperatures, the sun was shining. How long will it last? To tell us more, let's bring in CTV's Rick Wyman. Rick.
Not so fast. Last night I told you we were supposed to have a mainly cloudy day, so Environment Canada threw me under the bus and I apologize for that. Let's check out our systems map, Tony. I'll give you some answers here momentarily. All brought to you by CAA. Get your membership today at getcaa.ca. We've got some activity coming in the form of showers and some flurries as well. And we've got some glorious sunshine in parts of the Northeast. And again, yesterday I called for cloud cover yesterday. But again, we're going to improve upon that. And Tony, we'll feature the 5-day forecast and some of the conditions. A little bit of sun, we've got some rain, we've got some flurry activity, and some nicer temperatures. Details are coming up. Stick around.
Thanks for that, Rick. 3 Toronto area men are facing charges after their vehicle was pulled over on Manitoulin Island. According to the UCCM Anishinaabe police, it happened Monday along Highway 6 in Little Current. Officers detected what they said was a strong odor of cannabis in the vehicle. Police searched the car and found 71 grams of suspected cocaine and $17,000 in cash. Provincial police in the Kenora region are asking the public to refrain from hunting cattle. The ask is in connection to a collision on Highway 17 last Sunday morning involving a commercial vehicle transporting cows. Several of the animals broke free from their trailer. OPP say there is a plan to safely remove the cattle from the area. You can read more by going to our website, CTV News, northernontario.ca. The need for volunteer firefighters continues in Greater Sudbury as a union representing them and the city work together to address recruitment and retention. CTV's Lindsay Elick has that story.
Every year, Fire Services makes a presentation to City Council reflecting on the previous year of recruitment. In a report to be presented next Tuesday, staff say a total of 229 applications were submitted, but many didn't move on because they didn't live in catchment areas supported by volunteer firefighters.
We have recently implemented a strategy where they can type in their address and it will show them on the city website which is their closest volunteer station and if they're applicable to be able to apply to this. Some of the other ones is obviously physical testing, and then last is the interview stage.
Christian Labour Association of Canada represents over 200 volunteer firefighters in the city. The union says in order to best serve the vast geography, they'd like to see that number closer to 300. Unfortunately, year over year, they're seeing about 20% of volunteers leaving,
which is high. That's a lot of turnover. You're statistically losing replacing your service every 5 years, but realistically what you're doing is just losing a few people for various reasons, sometimes at the higher end years of service, but it's often the newer folks that might leave for various different reasons. And then having to replace those is very expensive and costly, and everyone else that's left behind, of course, has to carry the load.
Josh Corbett, known as half of the Pure Country Morning Show, has been a volunteer firefighter since 2023.
I think if you ask anyone in the service, it comes down to wanting to give back, wanting to help others, but do so in a way that's very frontline, boots on the ground. You know, you're able to put the work in rather than be more behind the scenes.
Walchuk says that the union and the city are working collaboratively to address recruitment and retention. He says he remains hopeful with upcoming open houses and presentations at local high schools that people will see the opportunity and become volunteer firefighters. Lindsay Elick, CTV News, Sudbury.
And Sudbury's mayor is calling on the province to provide a special status to help fix what he calls an unsustainable economic deal. Paula Five is formally asking the province to designate the city as a special economic zone. The move would allow the city to bypass some provincial red tape and potentially keep more mining tax revenue locally. The mayor says the status is about acknowledging Sudbury's role in a global race for resources.
The interest in mining there's never been so much and so focused that it is now. And so we need to support our mining companies. And that's why we support the municipalities that are supporting the mining companies with better infrastructure to ensure that that happens. So it's more of a, when the City of Sudbury applies to any other funding envelopes that exist, that we get a second look, because we're just not a regular municipality. We're actually delivering something very important to the sovereignty of our country.
And we'll have more on this story tomorrow night. A homeless outreach team in the North Bay area is pulling out of the city at the end of May. It means the Social Services Board has a few months to find another organization to take up the mantle. CTV's Eric Tashner reports.
Formed in 2006, True Self works to help people recover from abusive relationships, get mental health and addiction support, and provides community homeless outreach.
It would be harmful for us to continue in the direction that we're going, knowing that we would be underservicing.
But now, so as not to burn out staff, the 12-hour weekday and 8-hour weekend service will be pulling out of North Bay to focus mainly on Nipissing First Nation members.
Our community members are in North Bay, Sturgeon Falls area, and we want to ensure that we can support them wherever they are on our off reserve.
Nipissing First Nation Social Services received funding to launch a 90-day addiction recovery wellness camp this summer.
There were outreach workers that were supported in North Bay, which we have to pull to focus on this 90-day, 24-hour camp.
True Self will be moving into the east end of the First Nation at the beginning of June.
There are a number of options on the table that could take place.
Social Services of the Nipissing District Board Chair Mark King is confident another outreach program will step up to fill the void in the city.
There are people now looking at the opportunity to fulfill that service on behalf of DSEP. We'll have to see how that works out.
Social Services says there will be no layoffs. A majority of staff will be utilized for the wellness camp. The homeless outreach program will still run, but on a smaller scale.
This is about us changing our relationship to better suit the capacity.
The latest count of homeless people in the Nipissing District found over 450 people living on the streets in a count conducted last fall. 35% self-identified as Indigenous. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Well, it's time for a quick break. Coming up on CTV News at 5. Rick has your full weather forecast. Right now, we're heading to Algonquin Park and the wild bird cam. It's 8 degrees Celsius. We're back after this commercial break.
Pure Country 91.7 wants to send you to Sandals South Coast in Jamaica. We're giving away an all-inclusive Caribbean vacation for 2 every weekday. Listen for your chance to win. Pure Country Passport with Sandals Resorts. Get closer to the Caribbean.
Nice day and some warmer temperatures in northeastern Ontario, depending on where you live. I certainly hope you had a good day. We've got an advisory, courtesy of Environment Canada. Freezing drizzle, as you can see in parts of Marathon, Wawa, Chapleau, and just south of Timmins as well. Let's move on to the 5-day numbers now. Our forecast, Sudbury Nickel Belt. We've got chance of flurries for tomorrow, -2. Some cloud cover on Friday at 3. 4 degrees. Looks like it's going to be a wet day on Saturday. Showers there. Sunday, sun and cloud, 5 degrees, and 7 on Monday with the chance of sleet at 30%. How about the Sioux and Algoma? Sun and cloud tomorrow. Nice day at +1. +5 Friday with the chance of showers. Again, chance of showers Saturday, 60%. 3 degrees your expected high. 6 on Sunday, some sun and cloud and sleet, either rain or snow come Monday, all the way up to 8 degrees. It'll be a warm one. Timmins, Concord, Kapuskasing, sun and cloud tomorrow, -8 your expected high. Friday, we've got some cloud cover and 3 degrees. -1 Saturday, chance of flurries. Chance of sleet on Sunday at 4 and 2 degrees Monday with the chance of flurries in the forecast. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake. Chance of flurries at 30% tomorrow. -5 your expected high, warming up to +3 on Friday. So we've got flurries or showers on Saturday. Flip a coin on that. Your expected high around 3 and 5 degrees come Sunday. Some sun and cloud. Monday, chance of flurries once again. We've got a high of about 4 degrees. So somewhat similar forecast right across the Northeast for the next couple of days. North Bay, West Nipissing. Chance of flurries at -1 tomorrow. Friday, we've got some cloud cover and 4 shower activity Saturday. Saturday will be a wet day across the Northeast, so don't plan any picnics. 7 degrees your expected high. Sunday, some sun and cloud at 5 and 7 once again come Monday. 30% chance of sleet. So we've got some wet weather, we've got some snowy weather, and we've got some marginal weather. It could either be snowy or it could rain. So the next couple of days will be real interesting. Temperatures, Tony, will be going up, and of course we'll hit some 7s and some 8s by the beginning of next week. Back to you for more.
Thanks so much for that, Rick. Well, the ice has been thick enough for some time now, and there's a village of sorts set up on Whitewater Lake in the greater Sudbury community of Azilda. CTV's Madison Merrier went to visit.
Fishers have parked their boats for the winter and headed out on the lake with snowmobiles and vehicles so they can continue fishing year-round.
Sometimes you only see these people once a year on the lake. And there's a lot of new faces, though. That's it's good that Azilda is prospering.
It's a hobby. It's just getting out, meeting people, like my neighbor over there, Paul. And it's awesome. I love it.
The huts made it out later this year than expected in January. The permanent huts must be removed in March. So as the season is nearing its end, there's plenty of motivation to get out on the ice.
There's 38 to 40 inches of ice on the lake, so there's no panic. And usually the ice gets all flattened, and you could drive with a motorcycle or a car, or I am hoping to take my hovercraft on the lake.
I think I'll be here till about 2, 3 o'clock, and bring the hut tomorrow, and then I'll probably end up driving on the lake if it's a nice day and do some more fishing.
It's a nice pastime if you have the weather, and it's not an expensive sport if you walk out from the shore and drill a hole and put a line down. So it's easy to do. And it's fun. I mean, but it's fishing. So you don't always catch something, but if you do it, you can get a nice meal out of it.
Many community members say their love of fishing is what drew them out here in the first place. But the tight-knit community is what keeps them coming back year after year. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Azilda.
Women in Business coming up on CTV News at 5. The Timmins Chamber of Commerce celebrates International Women's Day by recognizing a local woman. Last break, we told you about Algonquin Park and the wild bird cam. There it is. Promise to deliver right here, CTV News, Northern Ontario. We're right back. Most provinces and territories have now signed an agreement to create a national energy corridor. Ontario calls it a historic effort to strengthen Canada's electricity systems. The Memorandum of Understanding was initiated by Ontario. The aim is to advance new electricity transmission projects across the country by breaking down barriers between provincial grids.
Right now, our grids we have 13 islands in Canada of grids. They don't speak to each other. They often don't flow power to each other. In the territory's case, it's even more exacerbated. They're microgrids, islands within islands. So we have a real issue as a federation. And if you want to think of, we want to use the language the Fed say, one strong national economy, we agree. Then we need to have energy infrastructure that connects the dots. So the cost of inaction is meaning that we continue to buy expensive power from foreign nations. We are less energy independent. And we ultimately put our industry, our economy at risk because we don't have access to megawatts.
And the agreement announced today was not signed by Quebec, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Nunavut. At Queen's Park today, the Ford government has announced a review of EQAO testing. The province is creating an advisory body to look into the standardized testing and how Ontario can improve outcomes for students. EQAO results released in December showed half of grade 6 students and 42% of grade 9 students were not meeting the provincial standard in math. At the time, Education Minister Paul Calandra also said there was inadequate progress in reading and writing. The Timmins Chamber of Commerce celebrated International Women's Day a few days early with a Women in Business luncheon. The guest speaker was a Timmins native who, last year, was named one of Canada's most powerful women. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
Longer reserved for the biggest companies.
Catherine Chaika, born and raised in Timmins, leads JKC Restaurants, which operates over 75 Wendy's and Tim Hortons locations in Canada and globally. The Timmins Chamber of Commerce selected her to be the guest speaker at its Women in Business luncheon, celebrating International Women's Day.
So somebody that was raised in Timmins and somebody that's seen a lot of success in business, as we've heard from her today, you know, really what it means to go into business and how natural it was because she was brought up with entrepreneurship, how you have to take calculated risks, investing in your people and your workforce, the importance of that.
Chaika says success is a result of how one shows up. The example she gave was one of her most notable business achievements, turning around the struggling Wendy's restaurants in Quebec. She says the strategy to her was clear: eliminate friction from the people closest to the customer to deliver a better experience. And if they win, the business wins.
While, you know, my title and my bio sound like, you know, I've made it, there's still so many challenges that I deal with every single day, right? And so I think that's just part of building a business or being a leader in general. And so I just want them to leave knowing that, you know, not everything's a linear process. You don't just move up and keep going up. You know, there's downs. If there weren't downs, the ups wouldn't be as exciting. And so I think that's a really important message for women.
Chaika suggests women do something they enjoy, something that feels good, and explore where that takes them. And the Link North program in Timmins is there to help.
We actually fund certain business sectors like the manufacturing, the industrial, anyone that's maybe looking to do some innovative project within the agri-foods, agri-tourism sector. We like to fund and provide support for those businesses that are looking to either commercialize or scale their operations or even develop a new product or technology.
Today's luncheon was a sold-out crowd, including many women who hold leadership roles in the city. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Well, she loves dogs. When we return in just a few minutes, we'll talk with a Sudbury author about her new book. You're watching First at 5. A Sudbury woman has just written her first book, and it debuted in February. It's titled North of Broken and Forever Home. Holly B. Gutwillinger is our guest, and thanks for being with us, Holly.
Thank you, Tony. I'm happy to be here.
Why did you decide to write this book? And I'm thinking with fur, F-U-R, it deals with an animal.
Absolutely. It was a gift from my dog, and it turned out to be a love letter to my dogs. But one day my dog was hopping over towards me. He has a lot of fears, anxieties, and I saw a different sort of motion in his step, and a few words sort of downloaded to my thoughts. He wasn't talking to me. And from there, I just kind of kept writing these little stanzas because I was trying to understand these two dogs of mine. I've had them for over 10 years, and the writing helped me move through it. And so I started writing stanzas, which moved into scenes and then chapters. And here I have a full book now. So my dog was the conduit.
You have rescue dogs, is that right?
That's
so
correct.
That was the impetus for writing this book. And I understand you're a heart-centered writer. Tell our viewers what that is.
Well, a few years ago when I presented to the Sudbury Writers Guild, I introduced myself as a heart-centered writer, or writer from the heart is what I said, because I didn't have any experience and I felt a little bit like an imposter sitting in that room amongst all of these authors and writers. And so I decided I need to run with it and roll with it, that I'm a writer from the heart. And as long as I stay true to that, the words flow.
Tell us about this. I understand there's a plotter or a pantser or a planter. Tell our viewers about that. I've been doing a lot of these interviews and I've never heard that process. So describe that.
Okay. Well, I am definitely a plotter. Every now and again I go over to the pantser, and the planter is the person who's in between. And so I don't consider myself a planter yet, but they do a little bit of plotting, a little bit of pantsing, and they make it work. I prefer schedules.
So you start with your title first, and then you have a main character and everything kind of rolls out from there?
Yes. Every piece I write, whether it's a poem, a letter, anything, it starts with a title. It's just it's a way for me to get the wheels greased and rolling, and then the rest of it just follows from there.
Holly B. Gutwillinger was our guest, and to see more of our authors and our Northern Book Club, go to CTV News, northernontario.ca. Our first community close-up is from North Bay. The local police service is getting ready this Saturday for the Polar Plunge in support of Special Olympics. Money raised will go directly to support the 2027 Special Olympics Ontario Provincial Winter Games in North Bay. The goal this year, $50,000. We're off to Verner, halfway between North Bay and Sudbury. France Gingras says a gorgeous day to be snowshoeing with golden retrievers, Jade on the snowbank and Atlas on the trail. France says she is dog-sitting Atlas, and the two animals get along. That's good news. Thanks for sending this in to us. And let's go to Blind River, a regular on our show. Larry Kirtley sent us a few photographs. He spotted a beautiful red fox and a male pine grosbeak. Those are great photographs, Larry. Thanks so much. And if you have any pictures, videos, or events you'd like us to showcase, don't forget, you can email them to us at communitycloseup@bellmedia.ca. And there's more news for the North coming up at 6. For now, continue watching as we hand things over to CTV National News.